session. In fact, when our colleague from Kenya was speaking, it was almost like taking us into the next session. It is not in our brochures. We have someone who will become an engineer, a member of the Ghana Institution of Engineering this year. He's not yet a member of the institution, but we are dragging him this year to become a member, to talk to us on manufacturing and use of drones and drone laboratory technology. Manufacturing and use of drones and drone laboratory technology. Yes, they're here, they're coming to present. They are presenting next. Lieutenant Colonel SL from the Signal Regiment based in Bema Camp. By the end of the year, he will be Engineer Lieutenant Colonel SL. Almost, okay, so maybe I'll call him almost Engineer Lieutenant Colonel SL from the Signal Regiment based in Bema Camp. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So very soon I'm going to be a member of the association. The institution, sorry. And what I want to say is that usually for a program like this, you want to be able to establish the right relationship when it comes to the audience. So with the kind permission of the organizers of the conference, I'll break protocol a little by trying to establish that relationship. It's just a normal ritual. So I'll say, Ahu. Excellent. So let me use this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving the Ghana Army, and specifically my regiment, that is Signal Regiment, to present on the use of drones and then drone technology. And the drone lab, we are just going to look at the activities as far as the lab that we have established in the Ghana Army. So my name is Lieutenant Colonel Esel. I'm the acting commanding officer of the regiment. And basically, when we talk about Signal Regiment, we focus on the provision of communication infrastructure in support of the military's operations. And then currently, as we speak now, we are also looking at support in the area of surveillance to be able to enhance our operational reach and then activities when it comes to the deployment of troops. Initially, Brigadier General ACN, who has been a core member as far as the development of our unmanned area program is concerned, was supposed to be with us, but I had to leave to Tamale to attend to an equally important program. Just sitting close to me as Mr. Kofi Owusu Edusei, the idea to establish this unmanned area vehicle laboratory started when I met Kofi in the university. He was a teaching assistant then, and I was a student, and we tried to think, how can we be able to help the armed forces in any way that we can? Because we want to make sure that the engineering we learn becomes very beneficial to institutions around us. And that was where the idea started. Kofi continued to University, and then later in 2017, we tried to hatch the idea of supporting the Ghana Army as far as the Unmanned Area Vehicle Research and Development Center is concerned. So basically, I want to say that the emergence of drones for surveillance dates back to the mid-20th century. And what happened is that literature indicates that during the Second World War, drones were significantly used by the German armed forces to be able to have effective situational awareness as events unfolded in the battle space. And then the military began to develop small unmanned area vehicles for reconnaissance and surveillance in support of combat operations somewhere in the 1980s. But we realized that getting to the later part of the 1990s and then the early 2000s, there were significant developments as far as unmanned area vehicles is concerned. And we've realized that there has been significant advancement in the development of drones. Currently, we are seeing very tactical, operational, and then strategic drones when it comes to military operations. And apart from that, too, they are also helping within the civilian space, the area of agriculture, building inspection, and other things. And drones are playing very key roles as far as some of these areas are concerned. So currently on the screen, as we see now, we realize that drones are being employed for border patrols because countries with very vast borders and then porous borders have to use drones to be able to control activities along the borders, especially when it comes to illegal activities along those borders. And then apart from that, when it comes to search and rescue operations, drones are playing very significant roles because some drones are equipped with what we call thermal imagery devices, and that helps to be able to pick the heat signals from objects to be able to do targeted search. Within the built industry too, we realize that drones are playing very significant roles, and initially when it comes to building inspections, it will take maybe sometimes 3 to 4 days, but with drones, you can be able to just do it within a very short time, and that is really helping as far as that is concerned. And then apart from that, in the area of agriculture, drones are also playing a very significant role, especially when it comes to inspection of crops, spraying and other things. We realize that drones are being used in these areas. So basically, one will ask, what is a drone? And a drone refers to an aircraft that is piloted or controlled remotely or through the use of onboard computers. And their employment in support of contemporary military operations has helped countries to influence the outcome of conflicts. And the picture there gives us a fair idea. That is Burkina Faso. They recently acquired the Turkish Bayraktar drones because of the violent extremist activities that are happening, especially at the northern part of the country, and then into Mali. And I think Mali has also followed suit and procured a number of this Bayraktar drones to be able to maintain effective situational awareness and then also monitor areas that are within their country. So this is what is happening as far as the sub-region is concerned when it comes to countries that are trying to embrace the drone technology. And one key thing that we have identified is that drones are playing very important roles when it comes to contemporary warfare. And a classical example is the Nagorno-Karabakh war that was between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The conflict has dragged on for a very long time. But for the first time, what we realized is that Azerbaijan resorted to the use of drones, and then they were able to pick high-value targets of the Armenians, and that helped them to be able to achieve decisive victory as far as the war was concerned. So it's giving us a fair idea of how drones are playing important roles when it comes to warfare. And even with the recent Russian-Ukraine war, we realize that drones are being used extensively for battle damage assessments, to be able to have a fair idea of the battle space, and this is what is going on. So the key question is that within the Ghana Armed Forces, what are we doing? We have also tried to embrace the drone technology, and currently the Navy is employing the drones when it comes to coastal surveillance and maritime patrols along our maritime borders. And the training was through our center that has been established, where we focus on piloting, image analysis, and then the engineering aspects of unmanned aerial vehicles. And then up north too, we have a lot of activities going on there, where the violent extremist groups are operating along our common borders with Burkina Faso. And drones are helping us to be able to bridge the gap, because we have a very dispersed deployment, and we want to make sure that at every point in time, at least, we have our eyes in the sky to be able to observe how events unfold. So we have significantly embraced the drone technology, and that is why we are here today. So what are the types of drones? There are a lot of them. There are tactical drones, there are operational drones, there are strategic drones, but I'm just going to briefly touch on some few. So we have the multi-rotor drones. These are very popular drones that we see around that are being used for taking videos and other things. They are very popular ones. And the design of the rotors determines the name that is given to it. So if it is 4, it becomes a quadcopter. So that's a classical example of a multi-rotor drone. And then we also have the fixed-wing drones. Basically, the fixed-wing drones will require more or less like a runway so that they will be able to take off and then land. And then they come in different forms based on how we intend to employ them. Then currently, too, we have seen the emergence of hybrid drones. Basically, the hybrid drones, some combine the traits of fixed wing and then what we call the vertical takeoff and then landing. Because what we realize is that it's not every operation that you need a runway to be able to take off. So we realize that there has been adjustments when it comes to the design of these drones. And so we have the vertical takeoff and then landing. And then the black one that we see is the teething drone. What happens is that in the past, you establish an observation post at a static place. You have a human being deployed there to be able to have an overwatch over a specific area. But with the teething drones, what happens is that they are powered, and then it remains up there, observing activities up to a certain distance. So that is a classical example of a hybrid drone. Then we also have the solar-powered drones, which fall within this category. So what are the categories of drones that are used in the Ghana Armed Forces? We have the Delta Quad vertical takeoff and landing drones. And like I said, this is specifically being used for coastal surveillance and then maritime patrols because our maritime waters are quite wide, and at every point in time, you can't use the ships to patrol everywhere. So you need the drones at least to be able to give you a fair idea of what is really happening. Based on the intelligence that you get, you deploy the drone to a particular place, and then you are able to get feedback regarding whatever is happening. Then you can be able to physically deploy troops to deal with the situation. Then we also have the fixer drones. These fixer drones are being used specifically up north when it comes to our operations there. When the troops are deployed in smaller units, you want to make sure that they are equipped with this kind of drones so that they'll be able to extend their reach when it comes to how they observe activities within the general area. Then we have recently acquired what we call the PD2 and then the PD1 drones. This has been procured from a Ukrainian firm, and these are recent acquisitions, and they are going to be employed up north because we want to extend our operational reach. These drones have capabilities of being in the air for close to about 12 hours. And basically, we want to make sure that at least we are able to extend that reach. So what is the importance of drones when it comes to contemporary military operations? The first thing that I want to talk about is improvement in intelligence, surveillance, and then reconnaissance capabilities. And what I want to say is that the drones have helped in improving our fighting capabilities when it comes to intelligence collection and then target acquisition. You can't have your eyes everywhere, but the drones are making it very easy. If you look at the span of our northern borders, it's quite wide, close to about 560 kilometers. And you want to make sure that at every point in time, you resort to the use of drones to be able to obtain information, process them into actionable intelligence to be able to deal with an issue. Like I said, all is because of our wide and then dispersed deployments in the country. And then apart from that, the drones are helping us when it comes to provision of real-time information, because an incident will happen, and you want to make sure that you are able to quickly pick the information, and then, if possible, resort to the use of manned aircrafts to deploy troops to a particular place. And the drones are really helping us to be able to achieve that effect. And then apart from that, to operations when it comes to anti-terror operations, border surveillance, coastal maritime surveillance, and then anti-piracy operations, the drones are really helping us to be able to achieve that. The end state is that it has helped us to reduce the heavy reliance when it comes to the use of the Ghana Air Force, because if you want to deploy a manned aircraft, the logistics and then the resources that are required to be able to do that is quite high. So you want to make sure that at least your operations are very efficient. So it has helped us to be able to deal with a lot of budgetary constraints that ordinarily we are faced with. Then the other issue is reduction in operational risk when it comes to the air crew. And this has to do with when we are conducting very high intensity operations or areas where the threat level is very high. So instead of deploying manned aircrafts to that particular area, the drones have become handy, and then they are helping us to be able to at least continue with our surveillance activities. So we have been able to significantly reduce the operational risk when it comes to our pilots, because it takes a lot of money to be able to train these pilots, and we wouldn't want to at least lose them through a very simple combat operation. So what are the applications of drones when it comes to we, the Ghana Armed Forces? And at this stage, what I want to say is that we have very interesting names when it comes to our operations. And so pardon me when you see some of the names. So we have Operation Hall 2. And Operation Hall 2 is just a follow-up to Operation Vanguard. What basically we do with Operation Hall 2 is that we are trying to support the government when it comes to the fight against illegal mining activities. And so we are using the drones. One will ask, are we succeeding? There are a lot of questions to that. Some have to do with some is attitude now, and then some too has to do with the fact that we need to change our mindset before we can be able to change the way we do things. And I want to say that drones during these operations are being used for area observation when it comes to the operational theater. So the troops are able to monitor it from a screen, and then based on that, they are able to do very targeted deployments based on how events unfold. And a classical example is what we are seeing on the screen, where we see extensive destruction of our forest areas. So what happens is that for such an area, if you are not very careful, there is a likelihood that you may lose your men, because some of the holes that are created are very deep. So if you are not very careful with your deployments, you are likely to lose them. So it helps the commanders to be able to understand the dynamics of the operational area or the environment, and then based on the information that they are able to receive, it helps them when it comes to the deployment of their troops. And I want to say that this has really helped to reduce the operational risk as far as our operations are concerned. Then when it comes to the issue of counter-terrorism operations, there is a threat that is gradually getting very close to us. And currently we are experiencing the upsurge along the northern borders of our country. But the drones are really helping us, because quite recently there were some activities in a place called the Tili Forest Reserve, very close to Navrongo. And the drones had to really help us to be able to monitor the movement of activities within that area. So the drones are really helping us when it comes to our counter-terrorism operations. And then this is really helping us to have the desired operational reach. Recently, I was up north there. When you look at the deployment, we have a unit, we call it a battalion, that is in Bolga. And then you have another one in Wa. So you are looking at the gap between Bolga and Wa, how you'll be able to at least close that gap. And we can only be able to do that using drones. But what I want to say is that despite the successes when it comes to the use of drones, we realize that there's a need to acquire more and then make sure that we will be able to improve our operations. Then another interesting name, Operation Cowleg. So what is this operation? Basically, this operation is sanctioned to prevent illegal activities of the Fulani herdsmen, especially when it comes to the Afram Plains general area. And the whole idea is to prevent issues of clashes between nomadic herdsmen and then our locals who are engaged into farming. So what exactly do we do? Basically, the drones are employed to identify the location and movement of the cattle and then their herdsmen, usually looking at their egrets. And then based on that, we are able to identify specific spots where they are moving. Then we'll be able to deploy the troops to deal with the situation. So that is how, when it comes to Operation Cowleg, we are employing the drones. Then this takes us to a very important area, looking at the overarching theme for the conference, resilient engineering in support of national development. And we are looking at a focus on resilient engineering in line with some partnership with some one or two civil institutions. And that is SokoAerial. So SokoAerial is a company that was birthed, and then through that collaboration, we have gone into extensive research and development when it comes to the use of drones. The end state is that we don't just want to be consumers of drones, but we want to understand the engineering aspect of it. And what we are doing is that this knowledge is being shared with other individuals in the industry. We have significant partnership with Forestry Commission, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, NADMO. There has been some engagements even with the universities, tech, and other institutions around. I would believe that with the right collaboration, we should be able to extend this partnership further. So how did this journey start when it comes to our drone lab? The whole journey started in 2018. Like I made mention, I met Kofi when we were in school, and we started that discussion. Luckily, Kofi went to study in University. He didn't stay there, but saw the need to come back and then help at least an institution in his country. So we started that engagement, and in 2018, that engagement, as far as our drone lab was concerned, started. But I want us to focus on what happened in 2020. So in 2020, that was where the center was expanded, and then we started a lot of research and development when it comes to the use of drones. And basically, what were we doing? We're using local materials to be able to design drones. Sometimes we go to the field, get very old batteries, get a styrofoam and other materials, put them together. And basically, that was how we started. And then the interesting thing is that we're using products from our universities, because we realize that there's a big gap when it comes to the theoretical knowledge and then the practical knowledge. So we are trying to make sure that we bridge that gap. It was an observation that I personally made whilst in the university. And we believe that with that little contribution, we'll be able to deepen understanding when it comes to engineering in Ghana. We believe that when we are looking at resilient engineering, we shouldn't be focusing on outside just to come and help us. We have to leverage on our local products and then individuals to be able to build that knowledge. Because definitely they are not going to share the knowledge with you. There will be some aspects that they will take away from you. So we want to make sure that we localize this knowledge, share with people in this country, and then make the study of engineering very, very interesting. So one of the first things that we decided to do was the design and development of a low-altitude surveillance drones, and that was equipped with autonomous capabilities. And what happened was that this was a 6 weeks engineering program, a package that was designed by the center. We looked at the science of it, the engineering aspect of it, the programming aspect of it, the hardware aspect of it, and we tried to put things together. And I want to say that, interestingly, we've been able to develop a lot of unmanned aerial vehicles. Initially, it was not easy. The first test, I remember immediately we launched the drone. It went, after just 1 minute, just dropped. And you can imagine investing so much resources and then experiencing that. But what happened was that we took it back to the lab. We tried to identify the key challenges as far as the design concept was concerned, tried to look at the simulation environment, whether we got it right or wrong. And then when we went back to the field, we were able to achieve some success. So that tells us that with constant practice, we will be able to achieve the desired effect that we want. And so the team was able to design and build a fixed-wing drone, which was, for the first time, successfully tested. And we called it Nkunim 1. Nkunim means that victory. So Nkunim was able to help us achieve a maximum flight time of about 60 minutes. That's 1 hour. And so with the assistance of the team there, I want us just to briefly take a look at how Nkunim 1 was tested. Video, please. Believe that if we are able to improve on some of these things that we are doing, we will not be relying on the Russians, the Americans, but within the continent, and in Ghana to be specific, there are a lot of things that we'll be doing. Presentation, please. Technical team. Back to the slide, please. Okay. Sorry. So another area, what we realize is that there's also research when it comes to the ground control simulator. Usually when it comes to the design of it, there are a lot of factors that come into play. The environmental factors, the physical factors, all these things come into play. So we've been able to come out with a ground control station simulator. And these were through open source codes that we got online, and we tried to put them together. And then that is really helping us when it comes to research and then design process. And then a critical study of the various simulators was done in this area. Some of these ground control softwares that we are looking at is the Gazebo, the JustSim, the Real Flight, and then the Mission Planner. Then first per view integration. What we realize is that at every point in time, we want to make sure that there's a link between the pilot and then what the drone is doing. So the first per view is also helping us. What we are doing is that we are integrating this into the use of the drone, and then based on that, we are able to get some kind of video feeds. The pilot is able to get some video feeds, and that helps him to intelligently control the drones. And then what I want to say is that personnel are trained to be very successful when it comes to the integration, and this is helping us to be able to achieve some high level of accuracy when it comes to our operations outside. So what are our projections? What are the projections? Definitely, we believe that a lot of things are happening within the UAV space. We realize that a lot of industry is trying to embrace it. So we have to continue with the research, share the knowledge with academia and then other institutions. And then one thing we have realized is that there are a lot of threats that are coming up when it comes to the use of drones, because these drones are being used to interrupt flight operations. And so we are currently developing solutions when it comes to counter UAV systems. So what we try to do is that we try to understand the system. A team was in India. We try to understand what they are doing there. And then based on the knowledge that we acquired there, we try to localize it. So we are trying to do that. And I believe that with such a knowledge, we should be able to help institutions like civil aviation and then other things. The other one, too, is with a SIG-track ecosystem. And then apart from that, too, we are expanding the UAV engineering program so that we focus on a lot of long range and then long endurance drones when it comes to operations. In conclusion, I want to say that there's a lot that is happening in the world, and listening to the presentation by the rep from KNUST, we sincerely believe that there's a need to bridge that gap between industry and then academia when it comes to the study of engineering. In our own small way, there are a lot that is happening, but we believe that when we are able to effectively collaborate, we can be able to move our country to another step. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you very much. Soon to be.
Drones, also known as unmanned aerial vehicles, are quickly becoming a popular tool for capturing stunning aerial footages. In recent years, drones application has been deployed in various sectors, from industry, security, through agriculture, infrastructure inspection, and filmmaking. The drone technology is fast evolving in Ghana, and SokoAerial Robotics, an end-to-end commercial enterprise through the collaboration with Signals Training School of the Ghana Army, has initiated significant research development into the use of unmanned aerial vehicles in the security sector. This has culminated into the establishment and equipping of an ultra-modern UAV center through the support of the Military High Command. The solid partnership has for the past 6 years led to the training of personnel in the Ghana Armed Forces and other security domain, the private sector and foreign nationals on the full utilization of drone technology in their field of operation. The foreign entities include personnel from Nigeria Defense Space Agency, Burkina and Malian Armed Forces. The partnership seeks to use Ghana as a base to enhance knowledge acquisition in the UAV space. This cross-border capacity building will, among other things, train personnel in security drone piloting, drone data analysis, mapping, security surveillance, drone assembling, 3D designing, among others. In telling our story to the world on the effectiveness of UAVs in the security sector, for a country like Burkina Faso, the center organized a television interview with an expressive show on GH1 television. The platform created the avenue for discussions on key research activities within the UAV space and technology, for individuals to appreciate the emerging and evolving trend within the UAV space. The Joint Military and Civilian Research and Training Team has helped deepen the understanding of Ghana Armed Forces officers as well as other civilian institutions in key theoretical and practical concepts within the UAV domain. The result of this synergy in ensuring the use of UAVs in support of the military operations is demonstrated during the Ghana Armed Forces annual Land Combat Power Demonstration exercise at the Bondasi Training Camp. This has attracted recognition from international firms with interest to invest in the partnership. Indeed, it is imperative to note that SokoAerial is a representative to varied drone
built environment in terms of training in the use of drones for engineering, because I happened to be there with my team, and we had was it a 2-week training, and it was fantastic. So please, maybe SokoAerial and at Burma Camp, very, very good. So I'm a certified drone pilot.
Engineer President, Flight Lieutenant.
Yes.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for your presentation. Let me say that drones find applications even in power systems. And lately, when you attend weddings, we see drones taking photographs. And that sometimes scares me. Somebody can easily, delivering rings, yes. Somebody can easily, dispatch a drone to go and detonate a bomb somewhere. So my question to you, and maybe to all of us, who is regulating the import of drone into the country? Who is checking to be sure that some of our cousins who, want to do evil do not harm us with this drones? Thank you.
Hello. My name is Kisman. I just wanted to ask a quick question. I'm interested in the 12-hour operating ones, where I come from the mines, and we are looking at the possibility of fitting a thermographic camera to the 12-hour operated ones, so that it can help us in, like the lady mentioned, in the transmission lines, surveillance, scanning, and then even the bulk supply points that we have, because it's a means of reliability improvement as far as power supply is concerned for the mines. So how can we have this collaboration so that we can take it forward? Thanks.
We'll take 2 more. So you last but one, and then we'll take from civil aviation, and then we are done. From civil aviation, then we are done. Our time is fast spent. Please go ahead.
My name is Engineer Isaac Boache Duenin from the mines. The mines, we do a lot of things at times because of the corporate institution. We get a lot of things from outside. I never knew this. I went outside, I saw some. But indeed, we are using it on our thermal imagery. We use it a lot of places for our predictive maintenance. And recently, we use it in the security. There are big ones with a big console that has to be flown. Anyway, we got our license from civil aviation. That one is done. So a lot of people who want to fly drone, they need to be licensed. I'm saying this because we need to collaborate. That is why it's good that you work with institution and the university to get this done. And finally, if you look at your work, we need to improve on the quality. There should be quality assurance and quality control. But aesthetically, it's not there. You don't see the aerodynamism of what they have. And because of this, the friction between this and the air, at times it hinders the fast movement of the drone. So anything you are doing, check the QA and QC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We want to take a final reaction. Our time is fast spent. From civil aviation.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Usam here. Okay, so my name is Joyce Asante. I work with the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. I just want to appreciate the fact that when the man in uniform was talking, he said that they plan to collaborate with civil aviation on this matter. Because in as much as we want to have all the benefits of drones, we have to realize that they also sometimes infringe with our airspace, and they provide some threats to safety. And I like the concern raised by SoFire and about the impact of some activities of drone operators. We want to put on record that Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is mandated by law to regulate the importation of drones into the country. And so all stakeholders must collaborate. The idea is not to slow anybody down, but is to ensure that we achieve safety, especially in our airspace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Joy Asante. So we will take quick reactions from Lieutenant Colonel.
So with the issue of misuse of drones, it's something that we have observed even recently during the 66th Independence Anniversary celebration. We made that observation. But what is currently going on is that there are some anti-drone solutions that are currently in place. So usually doing very large programs, very big programs like that, these anti-drone solutions are employed. But what we have to do is that there's a lot of things that we have to do when it comes to counter unmanned aerial vehicle solution. And that is in line with the concern that has been raised. We sincerely believe that it is important we control the use of drones. If we are not careful, a time will come, you'll just be sitting comfortably in your house and then somebody will just drop an IED. So like my sister said, civil aviation has a role to play, and collectively, we all have a role to play. Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, they also have a role when it comes to the importation of these systems and making sure that it's in line with whatever standards that are required. I'll leave the rest for Kofi to also touch on it. Kofi.
Thank you. Good morning. So regarding the question our lady raised, we started developing our in-house counter-UAS program. Just last week, we deployed the first solution. This morning, I'm having a conversation with some people from the civil aviation, how we can share this knowledge with them. The problem is that we are coming from a security perspective, and a lot of the technology we have developed has a lot of legal issues that we sometimes don't know where the law sits on it. But for military operations, we are able to use them. And once civil aviation welcomes some of these innovations, we are ready to share with them. A typical example regarding the drones being used for weddings and other things. Our counter-UAS technology that we have developed works between 1 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. So if we bring that device here and we power it up, any drone that is operating within 5 kilometers is detected. And once it's detected, we see all the communications that is happening within the spectrum monitoring. We are able to jam GPS, we're able to jam the RF communication. And this is on the military side. So the legal side, on the civil side, there is a Blair law there. We had to cut down the presentation because we didn't know what to bring. There's so many things happening. The drones that is flying for 8 hours, we currently bringing in 8 of them, which we co-develop with a Ukrainian firm. I think the goal is also support the internal security issues, and the mining companies are also part of the discussion. We've trained more than 7 mining companies in Ghana in terms of deploying drones to protect their concession. He did mention there is a software being developed. It's called SIGTRAC. Maybe those who come to our stand, we will demonstrate that software to you. It's an intelligent software that tells us, so you can take a picture with your phone, anything. Once you give me that picture, I can tell you where that picture was taken from. The same thing with our drones. But it was built on a problem we had when we were helping Forestry Commission. Imagine going to a Tiwa forest to do some work, and we lost some drones, and it was difficult for us to find. If at that time we had those capabilities, we could have known where the drones are. But today we have the solution as a military application, but it has so many civil applications that we can also use for. One of them currently we've been tested is site monitoring. So we have a company in South Africa that is using it, where they give mobile phones to their site supervisors, and every 1 hour you're supposed to go to a particular point, or they ask you to just take a picture of what is happening. You take the picture, you send it. You're able to tell the time the image was taken, the GPS information in the image, so then they know that the supervisor assigned to the site is from site. It's not like you are driving somewhere and then they call you and say, oh, I'm doing this and that and that. We also have the same problem in our operations, where you deploy a patrol vehicle in one direction, they also do their own thing in another direction. So we use that to monitor the activity. The cameras on the drones are changing the way we gather data. And we currently, the software is based on a NATO standard. And one will ask, why are we building a local solution with NATO standard? It's basically that we are studying the architecture in terms of how all the European countries are able to coordinate security information. And we want SIGTRAC to be the standard where agencies can share information. And a typical example is if we deploy our drones in the western region and we are monitoring Galamsey site, it will be important to share with the mining companies so that they will know that their concessions are being encroached. But they should also have part of the tools to also know where we saw the activities, so they can move in their ground security personnel to take the necessary action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've come